Hey guys, welcome back. BDC Care here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of November 6th, 2025. The current character challenge is Bounty Hunter Lobo. That is a 1-week repeat. The required characters are Flash, Green Arrow, and Green Lantern, who you can all get directly in the store as low as the bronze tier. This is fewer fights than usual. You get 9 for each ladder and then 12 instead of 12 and then 15. And then it goes back to the usual 12 and 15 at expert level. His passive is Hooked, which is when Lobo performs Special 2, the enemy cannot tag out until the fire damage over time runs its course, and every successful Special 2 makes the next Special 2 damage and damage over time length go up by 20%. He's got 1,250 attack and 950 health at his base stats, and he was last available October 24th of last year, just over a year ago.
Right. So, Bounty Hunter Lobo, we talked a bit about him in the Q&A earlier this week. A bit more detail here. Stats are, medium. They're low compared to the most recent challenge golds, but at one point he had the highest attack stat. And I'm pretty sure he was first released pre-Tantu Totem. And I could probably look it up and confirm, but what I remember is that his passive was pretty useless. Relying on Special 2, it would take too long for repeat Special 2s. I wanted to say Specials 2, but it's Special 2s to take advantage of the second part of his passive. And, we love Lobo, right? So we were trying to make him work. And he's got some limitations. The first hit of his Special 2 is not completely ranged. It's enough so that if you do a swipe combo when you're tagging with Master's Death Card, shoving your opponent backwards, if you commit to doing Special 2 before the swipe combo animation ends, sometimes you can get the first hit, a lot of times you can't, and I've tried doing it so I don't complete the combo, and I'm hitting more on the first hit, in fact always on the first hit, but they're also blocking a little bit more, so I still got to figure out the time. I got to play a little bit more. The reason why the first hit matters so much, because why does it matter that it's not that range, is because it does the most damage it doesn't do, actually, you know what? It doesn't do the most damage. I did an analysis on one of the videos, because it's so hard. There's 4 hits. You need to have them either all not crit or all crit in order to compare them. So about 30% of his damage is in the first hit. The second hit is less than 10. The third hit is about 40%. And the last hit is just over 20%. So you'd be giving up about 30% of damage if you are willing to not hit on the first one and let it be out of range. And I guess technically, I'm thinking most of the time if you miss on the first hit, you also missed on the second. So you're really giving up close to 40% of the damage.
Between 30 and 40, depending on what's going on.
Yeah. So we've played with him a lot. There's a link to the entire Bounty Hunter Lobo playlist in the description. If you don't want to use a power generating gear in the third slot, and because Master's Death Card and Tantu Totem are otherwise 1 hit shy of generating enough power for 2 full bars, that's why we do the swipe combo. Now, what's interesting, considering how the first hit of Special 2 is not ranged at all, his swipe combo is completely ranged. It's shotgun. So the opponent can't be too far away to be hit, no matter how far Master's Death Card shoves them. And that also means they won't be too far away to generate power. So this version of the team is Bounty Hunter Lobo with Red Lantern Hal Jordan and Hawkgirl, instead of one that we've tried to make work a lot more, which is Rebirth Raven. If you look in playlists, we've also done it with Batgirl to give them second bar power, let Batgirl have Master's Death Card so the opponent doesn't get shoved and we don't need to worry about the Special 2 range. We've also done what we're doing now, Red Lantern Hal Jordan, a bunch, because he makes a really good gear stripper, which is one of the few things that slows us down, Astro Harness. And most recently we used, I think, his signature gear. Here we've given him a Quake Engine, which I think works better, even though, like we talked about on our Q&A, his damage over time, the amount of damage feels like it's insignificant, but it locks in the opponent. And that's a more useful feature than I would have thought, with the exception of when you want to let New 52 Flash go, when his passive wants to take him away and instead he's invulnerable. Yeah, I don't want that. Now, the reason why signature gear, despite being not a legendary gear, it's pretty good, because, okay, so 2 abilities are for special 1, which we don't use much, that 18% damage boost and 30% crit chance. It's that third ability of splash damage on special 2 of 25%. It's pretty big number. Mm-hmm. And if we're going to be boosting that number by 20% every time, we're getting sort of full value for that.
Yeah.
But even so, it's probably not as good as Quick Engine because Quick Engine gives a 50% special damage boost against an opponent with less than a bar of power. Mm-hmm. It's more important, I guess, to try options without Quick Engine when we've got Rebirth Raven because it's so good on her. This still works pretty good. I mean, Rebirth Raven is, I think, I consider her top tier, S tier.
Yeah.
And if we can make a team that's as good without her, I'm happy to do that. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I like about Lobo is despite having damage over time, his special 2 still does a lot of damage. And if you compare him to other characters with the same damage stat, they both do the same damage on special 2. He does as much damage on special 2 as somebody who doesn't have a status effect. So it's basically his passive that I think that's giving him the damage over time almost.
Yeah.
And you compare him to other characters, right? Arkham Knight Catwoman does 3/4 damage because she has the damage over time effect on her special 2. Raging Superman does half the damage for it being unblockable, which sort of defeats the purpose. And
it's quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like him. This is my favorite Lobo. I mean, there's only 2 Lobo skins, but it's my favorite.
One of 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So we are in 26 weeks into what looks like the second repeat of the new updated challenge cycle. The key information that you need to know is that next week we expect it to be Arkham Killer Croc. And then at some point in the sort of mid-future, right, we'll see if this is looking to be a cycle that's repeating consistently or if there's going to be future changes.
So we've had a new cycle. We just don't know if it's repeating.
Yeah.
It looks like it is, though.
This is our cycle to check, right?
Right.
This week's multiplayer reward is Flashpoint Deathstroke, and his passive is Pirate Crew, which is Deathstroke has a chance on special attacks to be assisted by Flashpoint teammates. The more Flashpoint characters, the more attacks he gets on his combo ender. Right. He has 1,240 attack and 1,360 health as his base stats. Not even multiples of 50, so it's a little unusual, but it still adds up to a multiple of 100.
Yeah.
Last available on the 1st of May 2025. We expect it next week to be the Batmobile, the worst legendary gear.
Sure, yeah. So, Deathstroke. Good stats, really good stats. It's not the highest, but it's close enough. And he needs to do nothing. If he were nothing, if he had no passive, he was nothing else except just being Flashpoint, he'd still be among the best cards because he can take advantage of Flashpoint Batman's crit damage boost in his passive.
Yeah.
But both of the parts of his passive are really great. Mm-hmm. So you gear him to be your basic damage specialist with all the extra combo ender hits. So in a normal combo, you do a tap combo, you get 2%, 2%, 2%, and then 3% if you get the combo ender for 9% total of your damage stat.
Yeah.
If you've got one Flashpoint teammate, you get the 2-2-2, but then instead of 3%, you get 3% 4 times. Yeah. So you're doubling the amount of the damage you get on a completed combo ender tap combo. Then if you get 2 Flashpoint teammates, you get the same 2% 3 times. And then you get those 4 that you get with one Flashpoint teammate, and then you get another 3, 4, 4 hits. So you get a whole bunch more hits. It ends up being 29% of his damage stat. So basically you've more than tripled the amount of damage he does on a tap combo that ends in the combo ender.
Yeah, compared to having no Flashpoints. And compared to like a standard tap combo.
And you are generating more power every hit. So, and that would be if you were going to use him as a basic damage specialist. But we like him as our special specialist because his special 1 becomes deadly enough from the specials assist part of his passive to knock out pretty much everybody, even if they have a revive. So, Blackest Night, full Blackest Night team with Hawkgirl, 4th row gear set, because his special 1 is multi-hit.
Yeah.
You add League of Assassins Knives, Splash, so much more deadly. The main weakness is facing someone with Astro Harness, but that's going to be a weakness for anybody who's not doing a one-hit special. Mm-hmm. And there's a relative weakness as a team. Because when you've elevated your crit chance and your crit damage so much, it feels way worse when you lose it. Mm-hmm. What else? So I guess the other sort of weakness is if you're trying to use his specials to wait out somebody with Astro Harness, if they don't block, they're going to be generating a bunch of power while you're doing that. So you just got to be real careful that you're going to be vulnerable once the invulnerability wears off and your special completes.
Yeah, but even in a lot of those circumstances, it ends up going pretty much fine, right? Yeah. Like he's good enough that he allows you to make some mistakes in play and have it not be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. In a previous season of our Q&A, I think it was season 12, we went over our favorite teams, and the Flashpoint team was one of them. Super, super strong team. Still great. The high damage output makes up for any perceived or real shortcoming of the team.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Moving on to the store, we have the Arkham Killer Croc Early Access Bundle. That is for $24.99 Canadian. Prices in Canadian because that's the information we have access to.
And that's the only currency that matters.
There we go. Back to saying it. That's a corroborating clue to next week's character challenge. It comes with 100,000 power credits. It does not unlock a copy in your store. So you know. Mm-hmm. Play it out next week. Don't buy it this week, right?
Yeah.
We also have the character bundle Arkham Allies for $24.99, and that comes with Arkham Knight Batman and Arkham Knight Catwoman. And so Arkham Knight Batman is cash you have to buy for the first copy, right?
Yeah.
And then Arkham Knight Catwoman is available as a challenge character.
Yeah.
The gear for Batman is the Dawn of Justice one, which is Batman's hooded cloak, which becomes Batman's cowl, which is also normally harder to get in terms of the gear.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most worth it things to buy if you're going to buy something, right? Because Arkham Knight Batman unlocks the chance for you to get it as a Phantom Zone reward.
Yeah, and in some packs too.
And some packs, yeah. But until you have a copy of him, you can't get more. So this is one of those things that is kind of gated behind money.
Yeah, and I mean it's significant because don't remember the number of times we've actually got them from Phantom Zone, but there's at least 2 videos I remember where in the footage that we've posted, he's literally the prize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. Phantom Zone is finished and will be next week as well. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Bane, Killer Frost, and Ares. This coming weekend should be Sinestro, Green Arrow, and Scorpion. We have a link in the description to a thread from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle for yourself if you want to check that out.
Reddit thread.
Yeah, that's fair. You'll click on it. You'll know when it brings you to the website, what website it's for.
So as far as current glitches go, we go into more detail every time something changes, every time something significant changes, which did not happen this week. But even if nothing changes, we still do a slightly more detailed review once a month, the first week of every month.
Which is today.
That's today. Today's special. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have the patience, you can...
Well, it's a little special. Happens 12 times a year.
Yeah. So we have a video tutorial for every working glitch in our playlist, current working glitches, linked in the description of this video. So we're not going to go into that much detail, but we are going to just talk a little bit about the fiddly bits of those working glitches, I mean.
Mm-hmm. So we start out by talking about the significant not working glitches, which is stuff that you might remember doing, stuff that you were able to do at one point, stuff that you might be looking up to see if you can do, but it's hard to look at negatives or research negatives, right?
Right.
So there is no working glitch for power credits. In season 6, episode 9 of our Q&A videos, which we'll link, we do talk about a glitch that uses 2 devices being logged simultaneously into one account.
But more importantly, you talk about why you don't do it. Yeah.
And we do not recommend this because whenever you have either 2 accounts, 1 device, or 2 devices, 1 account, there's risk of bad stuff happening to your account. That is potentially being banned. That is potentially some weird, freaky stuff happening to your data in a way that you cannot switch back or recover.
Right.
And it is not consistent, and it does not always change stuff in a way that allows you to fix it.
Yeah.
So anytime that there's a risk of something really bad happening to your account, we will not recommend a glitch if we think that could happen. And this is a case where we know that kind of thing can happen.
Right. Okay.
There is also No glitch for getting repeated past multiplayer season rewards. There's no glitch for getting early multiplayer season rewards that you want to happen. Sometimes it does happen, mostly if you're playing when the season rolls over. You get a reward really early, but it gives you a crummy sort of mid-tier reward because you've only won one fight, and it does not let you get the reward at the end of the season, so you're locking yourself out from getting anything good.
Yeah.
There is no glitch to get through Phantom Zone quickly, but you can do it really fast if you have the right strategy.
We've done it really fast.
We've demonstrated, yeah.
Yeah, we've got some speed runs if you want. We got a whole playlist of speed runs.
Yeah. And finally, the glitch to let you get free energy without watching the video when you click that energy button, that is not working. That is separate from time shifting for free energy, which does work.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that there's a lot of times where there's no ad at all even. So even if it was working, it wouldn't be that useful because I guess the ad revenue is not there, so they're not offering any ads.
Or whatever service they have that's providing the ads. Because, I mean, theoretically, you'd offer the ads because who cares, right? You wouldn't run the math. It's just passive income. But they might be running, because it's a big enough company, Warner Brothers, they might be running a specific ad server, right? Yeah. And they're not just doing... Because I think with a lot of the cheap mobile apps, they just kind of give you whatever, and you'll see that they'll have different, like intermediaries that sell ads, and you can tell based off of how the ads are presented to you. Anyways, whatever. Moving on to working glitches. The glitch to let you play Phantom Zone repeatedly was still working the most recent time we were able to check it. Yeah. And the challenge reset that requires Google Play Cloud Save is working. That's confirmed on the Bounty Hunter Lobo challenge. We mentioned them together because resetting progress on one will reset progress on both. And the two most common problems that you'll run into if you attempt the glitch and it does not work for you is that the cloud doesn't appear, the cloud icon for Google Play Cloud Save, which means you were disconnecting too early. And the second thing is that your progress will remain, like you won't reset anything, and the cloud does appear, which indicates that you are disconnecting too late. So if you are running into issues, you can see which one of those things is coming up and adjust your timing accordingly. And it is just something that you kind of have to feel out, right?
And I guess as a troubleshooting note here is that if you don't disconnect and the cloud still doesn't appear, then you know it's a problem with your Google Play account integrating with Injustice. And that's a whole different kettle of fish. And that's a you problem, not a process problem. If you can't get your Google Play to play nicely with Injustice, then this is not going to work.
Mm-hmm. So there we go. We also have a comment in the description from Tanmay Kakde, which has instructions. If you are being forced to re-download a significant amount of data every time you reset your app data, or you clear your app data, then this is a strategy that allows you to move files around on your device instead of having to re-download files every time. So it requires you to have, I think, a little more storage space. Yeah. But it avoids you needing to spend a lot of time and bandwidth potentially, which could be a big time saver or a big money saver if you're using data for whatever reason.
Breakthrough glitch that lets you play repeatedly, still working. Airplane mode / refund glitch is still working, good for both packs with random drops and last laugh tickets. It does not work for us in the Phantom Zone when it's around because it requires an online connection. We strongly recommend against doing a variation of this that other people seem to do and then come to us saying, oh, there's a problem with it, because, we don't recommend it. So that's one where they switch between accounts instead of clearing app data. I mean, that way is faster, but it's also much more dangerous. There's too big a risk of account bleeding. We've seen people saying that by logging out before the final boss fight and switching accounts immediately, if you don't like your reward, is an option to re-roll your Phantom Zone portal rewards. We can't get it to work, even with clearing app data. So... just don't do it.
Yep. Time shifting still works in Android for unlimited survivor play and energy recharges. As always, return your clock back to normal before you finish and start, connecting to Wi-Fi and playing as normal again. It'll mess up your timers. So that's like stuff like challenges and store packs if you do it wrong. And
Phantom Zone. Any events, anything that's on the calendar. Yeah.
Last but not least, in between not working and working glitches, we have the promotion glitch where you can promote characters that are still locked. Hasn't had the right conditions since update 2.14, so it's not testable. It's not usable, but technically it has never failed us, so we are keeping it in here on that technicality.
Sure.
So that'll do it for this week. To finish up, we have some people that we'd like to thank. Do you want to do the honors?
Yeah. That is a big thank you to our patrons on Patreon. That's Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, Hoshi127, Nora Klimek, and Miguel, who are supporting us on the credited level.
And a smaller but still present thank you to all of you for supporting us however else you support us. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Komoda.